So today I want to actually speak about unlocking the story behind our brand. And I'm going to start first by asking you, what is a brand? I'm missing a slide. So I'm going to start asking you, what is a brand? Imagine that you haven't seen the slide after. So you can either write in the chat or you can unmute yourself. See some of you are typing. A brand is a representation of one's business. It's when what people say about you when you are not in the room. Good. So I see someone else is typing, but we'll give a second. Good thing it's not me who's typing. It's all about you and your business. And I think that's the most important part that you need to remember, that a brand is a story. So everything you just said, it's basically sum it up to this. It's a story. It's something that we have to tell, that we're sharing with our audience. Okay, it's something that they can listen to and resonate with and can connect with. But it's really a story behind us. And the most important thing for us to understand is that we are the brand. Okay, so we are the brand. We are actually the story. Everything we go through in life is part of what tells our story. Now, we need to ask ourselves as well, how much we are willing to share. How much do we really want to share about this? So if I look about this, and I'm going to start sharing it from my side, you know, I've started this business. It was like a long journey. And I was just saying before we started that I'm actually Israeli. And I remember that my boss was offering me like on a WhatsApp message, if I want to relocate to Johannesburg. And I said, yes. And he wrote Johannesburg. And I said, yes. Question mark. Yes. Question mark. Yes. It's like, Dana, I don't think you understand what I'm trying to tell you. I was like, no, I do. It's like, okay, we'll speak in the office. And in the office, he told me, sit down. I didn't ask you to move now to London, to Berlin, like place, you know, it's South Africa. It's Johannesburg. You don't even know the place. And I was like, okay, you know what? I maybe don't, but he said like, I'll pay for your flight and go check it out. I actually came here for 2 weeks and I fell in love with Johannesburg, even though I was in a meeting with a lady who spoke only Afrikaans. And all I learned from this is that I learned to say madag and aangenaam en kennis. And my name is, so my name is Dana. So I learned like things like this. And I couldn't understand anything. And donkey. Donkey was the first thing I actually understood. And like, I was sitting there shocked, but I still fell in love with this. And then I decided I'm going to do this journey. And during that time, my mom got sick with brain cancer. And I was finding myself flying a lot back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, until a certain point, my mom passed away. And that was a type of a wake-up call for me, because I realized, okay, I don't want to go back to Israel. I was sitting with the HR manager and I said, like, no, I'm sorry. Like, everything you offer is amazing. In the past, I would grab it, but I want to stay here. My journey is still here. And then I remember that my mom always, like, she used to work in a bank for 30 years. And by the time she started, like, to make her dream come true, it was after she retired, about like starting a business in interior design. And eventually she couldn't do it. She passed away. And I realized that that's something that I really want to do. I remember when someone asked me in one of my degrees, it was actually in my MBA, I was, I think, 24, 25. So for Israelis, it's very young because we do the army. Okay, so I was in the army until the age of 20 and some. So I really started and done everything fast. And I remember they asked me where you see yourself in 10 years. How many of you heard this question before? Just even raise your hand and nod. We all heard it. How many of you are actually done and accomplished what you say that you're going to be in 10 years from now? No. Okay, that was me. I wrote that I'm going to imagine myself entering my own office. I even imagine how it's going to look like. No, it didn't happen. But I decided that I'm going to do it. So I was a bit crazy because I've decided to move to Cape Town, start a business from scratch, not in my homeland country, not in my home language, doing it like from nothing. I had no one here that works in, like, all my friends work in corporate. No one was there really to help me to, oh, look at this, like, nice, like, you know, like a networking group and stuff like this. I've done everything by myself. So even though I had lots of experience in marketing, more than 12 years in marketing, I was still struggling in the beginning with my marketing. Because to market your business is to learn to put yourself in the center, which wasn't easy. Okay. It took me a time to learn that it's okay to put a picture of myself on Instagram, and I'm not a narcissist if I do it. It took me a while to learn to be okay with looking and doing, creating videos. I remember I never had the courage to make my own video by myself. So I offered a lady that I met once in a networking, and she wants to do it with me. We both couldn't sleep at night, but then we decided that we're doing it. And then I remember that every time we used to sit in Lagoon Beach in the hotel here in Cape Town. And every time after we finished the live, she needed to watch it and listen. And I was like, oh my God, I cannot even listen to my voice. I cannot even look at myself. I've told her, just sit far away from me and reduce the volume. I cannot even look at this. And I remember all of it, and it wasn't that easy. And I learned that I was speaking business English, and then I need to change my English to be on social media. I couldn't get it all. And I wanted to give up so many times to go back to Israel, find a job as a marketing manager in a big company, earn lots of money, and be fine. But I realized that I have a purpose. I realized that I don't want to let my fears control me and guide me in life, that I really want to push myself to keep on doing things. And I remember the saying that I once read in a book, the formula of event plus reaction equal to the outcome. Events always going to happen. It's how you react to them that leads to the final outcome. So I've decided my mom's event happened. There is nothing I can do about this. I'm going to make the most out of it, and I'm going to push myself every single day and remind myself not to give up, that I can do this. And it took me 2 years to build trust with the South African market, because you guys are not so easy. It takes time to build credibility here because you're very suspicious about everything. And it wasn't an easy journey, but I've done it and I've built a brand. And the fact that I can host a summit like this and have some of you ladies that some I can recognize, some not, meeting other people, that's the beauty of it. And that's the nice thing. I could have done it. And that's what I do today. That's how I teach to build the brand. Because if I could have done it, and I learned through that to love myself, to value myself and appreciate myself. I learned that that's okay, that not everything will go as I planned. I learned a lot about patience. I thought I had lots of patience because I have for kids, apparently not for myself and for my life. So I know some of you can resonate. And I remember even going to the office and was saying to the general manager back then, and I looked at it and I said, like, you know, like I took Jackie Rollins saying, rejection is redirection. Well, she got offended because she said, we didn't reject you. But I said, no, I didn't mean it as a bad way. You just, like, something in the company was changing and you just helped me to decide to push myself to do something else. And I'm grateful for this. And now through my story, I'm going to take you to the side of how you can tell your story. So as I said, a brand is a story. We all have something around us. We all have something that if we're just going to share it, it's really going to help us to succeed with our business and build a strong online brand. And the big part of it is to know your why. And I'm going to ask you this, and please write as well in the chat. How many of you actually know why you do what you do? Or maybe you think you know why you do what you do, but it's not really deep enough. Because while you're tapping, I'm going to mention this because I hear a lot of the time from people who say, yeah, but I know why I do, because I love this, because I want this, or like different stuff that are very generic. There's not, like, let's say, meat to this. Sanchita said to be able to offer a legacy to my daughter. But why? Ask yourself why. Why is it important to have a legacy to your daughter? Why that specific business that builds the legacy you want for your daughter to have? So I'm asking you this question, and you're more than welcome to type it down. So for some of you, if you maybe work in corporate, or you maybe heard it somewhere, in Toyota, they started the problem solving with the why, the 5 why. Keep on asking why until you're getting to the solution. That's the same that you need to do with your why. So I know why I do what I do. I know because I saw my mom wanted to make her dream come true. In the age of 50 some, she went to study a degree to become interior designer. By the time she retired, it was all over. I remember her walking in the hospitals and giving her business card to people. And it was heartbreaking. And I don't want to do it. I don't want to have it for myself. That's one of the things that pushed me to do what I do. And that's one of the things that pushed me every time to push other people. Because I don't want them to come to that bang. And I'm like, oh, now I need to do it. No, you can do it. We all can do it. So Santi, you're right. I want people to see how important their photos are for branding and marketing and to generate income. But there's more to this. Why true photos? Okay. Why do you decide to share photos? Is it because it's a mirror for something that you've seen in yourself? Is this how you discover yourself? It can be different things. But as you can see, there's more to the story. As much as you learn about the story of yourself, that's how you can share more with your audience. That's how you can actually create and connect and have a better connection. Okay, because by having your why, this is one of the biggest steps that you can do to unlock your story. Because you're really connecting. And a lot of the time when I, for example, when I teach how to build a brand and I do consultation and the teaching, I see it more as a spiritual and like coaching type of session because it's very intimate. As I said in the beginning, you're the brand and a brand is a story. But if you're not connected to your story, how can you get your audience to connect to you? One of the things that you need to remember is that people buy from people and people buy from people they have a connection with. And for you to have a connection with me, you first need to connect to yourself. That's one of the reasons why you share your why. Because as I said, like if I know about myself, I know exactly what I can, like what's happening. I know exactly what I'm going through. And that's why I'm going to know exactly what my audience is going through. Okay. You want to know this. And by you knowing yourself and connecting to yourself, you also are able to be more authentic. And this is something very important. And if you're being authentic and being true to yourself and connecting to yourself, you can put it out there and then through that help your audience to connect. Because as I said, like, if I want to connect with you, I need to get to know you. Okay. It's not like in the past that it was enough for us to see certain celebrities on TV and we were feeling a connection like we know them. Like today, when we have reality shows, a lot of the time we feel like, what do you mean? I know them. I heard their thoughts because they asked them the question. I saw how they're acting. You feel like even like in like you feel like part of their like the way they met their partner. You feel like part of everything. You feel like you know them so well, right? It's a type of feeling that even our audience, they don't want to look at you from social media and say like, oh, okay, there's the person. They want to know more. Okay, so you also by doing that, you're also creating an emotional connection. And if in the past people used to first think, then act, and then feel something, today it's the opposite. Okay, in the last 10 years or so, it's more about the feeling. So even all your message on social media, on other things, it's about the emotional connection. You want to create that part because if I feel a connection to you, I can build a relationship with you. If I'm going to build a relationship with you, it means that at one point I'm going to start trusting you. And if I trust you, I'm going to be loyal to your brand, and which means loyal to you, and I'm going to be your best brand ambassador. And the thing is especially with social media, I think we're so used to those like quick, like we want like, I think we want like quick solutions. We want things to happen in a second, but it doesn't happen like this in life. You know, like I know we're so used that by a click of a button, like you already booked your flight, which in the past it wasn't like this. You need to walk to an agent, go start the process. It was a mission. But building a brand, it's a long process. It's an ongoing project. It doesn't end today. Look at people like celebrities or presidents or things like that that already passed away. Their brand is still there. It's still there. It's still present. There are still people that kind of maintaining their brand. Okay, if you're going to find a bad story about one of them, it can destroy the brand. But they're working their entire life on building something. And that's the thing. It's like I always give the example, like even with babies, right? They don't start to walk from the first day. They actually first turn after a few months, right? And then they start to scroll, and then they try to climb up, and they fall, and they smash, and they fall, and they smash until they get the confidence. That's us. That's our story. That's our brand. This is how we're building ourselves. So it's very important to know the why. Why you do what you do, it's the top secret. So I would recommend for you, and you're more than welcome to write me down, even for those who are going to watch it after, you're more than welcome to type down to me on a private message, either by email, on social media. What do you think your why is? So I can help you a bit to do fine tuning for this, because it's very important. Because as you said, just by the two of you sharing, Sandy and Chantel, it's like you see that there's more to the story. And until you don't know that more, you cannot expect your audience to know this. And think about it. We all see someone behind the screen. You want to see more to that. Okay, so it's very, very important, because this is really what's going to help you to build a brand. To help you keep unlocking your story. So now that you know the why, it's also very important to ask yourself, who's going to listen to your story? Okay, who are the people who's going to listen to the story? Because I can tell you the same story over and over again, but in different variations, because I'm going to tell it to different people. And each and every one of them will listen to the story in a different way. So it's not the what you tell, it's the how you tell it. It's like even when we have a fight, right? It's not like the topic of the fight, it's how we fight. So it's the same as in here, okay? Think about it always like this. And this is, by the way, it's part of the foundation of your business. If you don't know yourself, you don't know who's the audience you want to connect with. Because even for me, that I teach social media, a lot of people are stuck with social media, and they don't get it, and they want to succeed with us. But it doesn't mean that I want to work with all of them, because they all experience things differently. And that is why it's very important to niche down. So when you want to tell your story, and it's regardless if you want to tell your story in general to your audience in general, or you maybe want to go and do some lectures, okay, and to be a guest speaker somewhere, or like even like in a course you want to create, you want to ask yourself for that specific place. Even if I'm going to be invited now to give a speech in a corporate, I want to share it the same as I'm sharing with you. I'm going to adjust myself to the audience. So always ask yourself, who's the audience I want to share with, my why, the story. Because this is also going to lead you to the part of understanding what is the core message. And when you look at your core message, you want to look about what is the problem or change that you want to focus on, that you're trying to lead them to. Okay, so it can be either a problem that they experience, it can be a struggle, a challenge, or maybe you want to make a change. Okay, so for example, if I look at part of my core message is that I want people that are struggling to build their online brand to help them with this, to understand that they can do it by themselves. They don't need to pay lots of money in order to build a brand, that they can do it. It's doable. If I've done it in a different country, not in my home language, with no support, I needed to find by myself my own supporting group, and I needed to find everything by myself. I learned social media by myself, because there's one thing when you work for corporate and have other people that do social media and you manage it, versus did you do it for yourself. So this is my core message. So ask yourself, what is my core message and who's the audience I'm going to share? And the reason why it's very important to understand the two of them together is that when you choose the audience you want to work with, that they will listen to your story, you want to choose audience that not only they resonate with you, but that you also resonate with them. That is why, again, it's going back to the point that it's very important to know yourself and to connect to yourself. Because if you're connecting to yourself, you know exactly who's the right people you want to attract. Because, for example, I can work with guys. I do have clients that are guys, but it's not the same. It doesn't feel the same. I don't enjoy it the same as I work with a female. And the funny part is it's even impacting my business from the side that with them, I cannot do an hour and a half session. because they don't have the patience. They barely have the patience for an hour. So it's more like a 45 minutes. They're like, okay, bottom line. With the ladies, it's never an hour and a half in my sessions. It's always close to the 2 hours and sometimes more, because we love to speak about life and share. It does have an impact. Okay, to a guy, I won't tell the stories I tell you now. I would change it. But you need to find the people you resonate with, because if you resonate with them, they will definitely going to resonate with you. And then it's going to be enjoyable. You're going to enjoy working together. And if you're working with the wrong audience, what happens is that there's frustration. And that can actually destroy, because it can burst at one point. Even if it's you looking at your phone when that client sends you a message and you're cursing about how much you don't really like that client, and was like, oh, I don't want to do it. And then you come to the meeting and you're like, okay, but they can still feel the energies. Okay, and that's why it's very important. So this is some of the steps that's going to really help you with the telling the story. The other part is, what is the outcome? What are you trying to achieve by sharing the story? What is the purpose behind the story? Okay, and it's very important. This is the part that in everything you do in marketing, okay, in everything you do, you want to make sure you know what's the purpose. Okay, why you do it. Even if you post something on social media, why do I need to post this? What am I trying to achieve with it? Sending this newsletter, what am I trying to achieve out of it? Okay, it's very important for you to understand. So I'm just repeating it quickly before I'm moving to the next part. A brand is a story, and we are the brand. We decide how much we want to share and to who we want to share. So make sure you're choosing the right audience to share it. Connect to your why. Ask yourself the why, like a kid when he's trying to learn something new and you keep on asking you everything, why? And at one point you're like, I don't know why. You actually find yourself that you need to Google and understand, okay, I have no clue why the skies are like this and why this, right? Connect to this. It's going to help you to connect to yourself. It's going to help you to connect to your audience. And make sure you understand what is the problem that they experience. What are you trying to change that you change in yourself? And that is how you can help. So for you, for example, Santi, with the photography, you want to ask, like, why do you want them to do the photos? You want them to feel good? You want them what? Is that what helps you feel good? That's the type of a cycle you're trying to create. Okay. And as part of, like, when you share your story, this is some of the things you need to have in your story. And for those of you who listen to my story, so we can see that I actually used a lot of the stuff here. I have shared something very personal about everything I went through with my mom, my decision. And I've shared about something that there was something inspiring in it. For some people, yes, for some people, no. And that's also good. That's why it's also important to choose your audience. Professional background, about the experience. I did mention shortly about my experience in marketing, having a degree, core values, beliefs, things that they don't know about you, which can support the story and your key message. And you want to build it in a nice way, okay, that can lead them. Even when you create a presentation, even when I created the presentation and I wrote myself the notes, I know that, like, in a way, I'm guiding you. I'm taking with me on a journey. Okay, I'm trying to, all the time when you create even content for social media, when you create presentations or whatever it is, or even a proposal, you want to tell that story. You want to create, when you come and meet with a client for the first time, you want them to get to know you, or when you create a video. So make sure you're finding a mix of, but still sharing, being personal, but being professional, but using it to inspire, to motivate them. Because if I come and I want to listen to your story, I want to get, like, if I, let's say I experience a certain problem. So if I'll take again my side, like, if I know that, like, people are struggling with social media, but I'll speak about my struggles as I spoke about, okay? If I'll do that, wait, let me just get something. If I'll do that and I'll share the story, like my, like, issues, how it wasn't easy, but I'll show you how I'm doing now and how I got you ladies to come to join from social media, how I get my clients from social media. then it makes it easier for you to say, okay, she understands me. She also been through this. She's not just coming from like so many years from marketing and now she's trying to sell me. Oh, bullshit. Of course it's easy for her. She's doing marketing for so many years. No, it wasn't easy at all. I promise you. I won't even remember that I paid for some Israeli girl about a course. And I was sitting and I was like, I cannot believe I just paid this. I really wanted to return the course. Okay. Because basically what she taught me is to do follow on Instagram. For that, I paid around 300 shekels, which is like more than 1,000 and something, right? Which is not even what I charge for my courses. Okay. So I was sitting, I was like, I can't believe I paid this. But I said, you know what? That's our money. I'm not going to touch it, whatever. But she encouraged me to go start and make my own online courses before even COVID started. And that's the thing, you know, it wasn't easy for none of us. So don't be afraid to share in your story about the why and how it wasn't that easy, but how you overcome it. Because again, if I'll go like what is the story behind your brand? This is the part, right? I'm approving another person. So now it gets stuck my screen. I think okay, I think I know what happened. It missed a slide. But wait, so I'll do stop sharing for a second so I can just fix it quickly. I wonder why. Okay, I don't know why it skipped it because it was working. But let me come back to this again. And ladies, please feel free to share, okay? Okay, if I can see the slide. So as I said, like when you also share your story, you want to know what's the purpose behind it. It does. Okay, so one of the slides disappears. So I'm just going to say it like this. And I'm going to come back to this. The thing is that when you're telling your story, you want to have a beginning. Okay, you want to have a clear structure. You have a beginning, a middle, and the end. And the beginning is about speaking about the problem. Okay, you want to speak about the problem, about the why. Okay, from there you're going to come leading. Wait, sorry, I see more ladies, Jenny. So you want to start talking. So if I'll go back, I know what happens with everyone who's joined. Okay, so I'll go to this. When you want to share your story, okay, you want to first start with speaking about the problem. Why you like what's happening, what your audience and you experience. But really think about it from your side. What is the struggle issue that you experience? Okay. And that you know your audience is also going to experience. But it's not a problem that you haven't sorted. It's a problem that you did sort it. So don't speak about something that you don't really have a solution for, because then what are you trying to sell? So the same as I'm trying to sell about my knowledge in social media, okay, I'm sharing it from the side of I've been there, I've done that, but I've overcome it. But you don't want to give the solution, not from the beginning, and you don't want to share the full solution. Always think about it when you share in the story, is like, use it as like, you know, when you go to a restaurant and you order the starters, like that's the bread basket that you get to the table. You don't want to eat all of it. You don't want to give them all the meals from the beginning because you don't want them to be full. You want them to come for more. So you speak, that's the beginning. You speak about the problem. And then from there, you work on the creating the personal connection, okay? So the personal connection is the part that you're remembering that you are the brand and you're sharing about your why. You're using your why in the middle to help you guide it. And as I said, keep on asking yourself, why am I doing it? Why? There's always a deeper meaning around us. And then at the end, you want to make sure that in order for you to get all of these, to connect to them, to connect to everything, to build a relationship, show some empathy. Okay, don't just speak about the problem and be very cold about it. Show some empathy. Okay, show them you see them. Show them you understand them. and give them a bit of a tasting from the solution. So if I'll go back again to my story, okay, so I was sharing with you on the why I started my business, with my mom going through with the brain cancer and everything, and my journey in South Africa, and to started it from scratch and everything. And I spoke about my frustration with creating videos. And I remember doing my first YouTube video by myself. I was sitting for 2 weeks in front of my computer and keep on switching it off because I said, like, I'm not gonna record today. My first video, I was sitting like this, I think. Really, like, so like, and today I do it in my sleep. And that's the difference. Even when I started Reels and I teach Reels, my first Reels was actually presentations. It wasn't even me on there. Then I got the confidence to do the funny part and to speak and to do. And I remember that I was even struggling to even share some of my videos in Hebrew because I thought like people will judge me. Every one of us had their own things in their head. But as you can see, I was sharing about the problem and speaking about it from my side, showing you I understand you, that I see you been there, done that. But I also gave you some tips here, okay, that's gonna help you eventually to understand. So one of the biggest tip about like social media, I spoke with you about how it's very important to build a relationship with your audience, to build trust. That's one of the things that you really want to focus on with building your brand. You want to share and make sure that you're choosing the right audience. You're choosing the right people that actually want to listen to you and understanding what you're going to say to them, but that you also feel a connection to them. Because you don't want to work with people just for the money, trust me, because it can destroy your brand. You want to work with people that you can actually build a relationship. Because if you build those relationships, they're going to be loyal to you, if you remember that I said, and they're going to be your best brand ambassadors. They're going to automatically going to help you to bring more people to you because they're going to love you so much and what you do, they're going to trust you. And that's the thing. And that's why when you use social media, you use it as a great tool to share the story behind your brand. But in order for you to share the story, you need to make sure that you're connecting to your story so you can be authentic, that you can speak about the actual problem. But not only speak about the problem, but you can actually give them a bit of a taste of the solution, what you're going to focus on, and always have a purpose. Always know, okay, what are you trying to achieve? Am I trying to generate leads? Am I just trying to build credibility? Am I trying just to find collaborations? Why am I sharing this? What am I trying to do with this? Okay, always ask yourself this question with everything, even things that you're posting. Okay, you don't need to necessarily write it down and have something very long around it, but just understand, okay, when I do this summit, I wanted to do it because some of my purpose was to reach out to more ladies, to inspire other ladies and motivate them, because I know I was missing this. Okay, I wanted to connect with other ladies from different places. I wanted to learn more stuff. And that's why I've done it. So I had my purpose around this. So always ask yourself, because it's really going to help you to connect. Because as I said, it's not that what you tell, it's the how you tell it. And in order for you to tell it the right way, you need to know who you're telling it to and what you want to focus on and what are you trying to achieve from it. Because as I said, like I can tell the same story in different ways. And there are certain places I can tell it and I can make people cry if I want to, but I don't want to. I take it in my way and you decide. So I was sharing about my story, but I didn't share the hard part of my story. I didn't share how hard it is was to take care of my mom. I shared just the part that pushed me to where I want to be. I decide how much I want to share. And I must admit, it took me a while to learn to share my story and to be okay with this, to speak about my mom. It wasn't that easy. But as I said, like, because you're the brand, everything you go through is going to help you to build yourself. So keep on sharing the story, create the connection, share something personal, but link it to something professional. Understand, let them get to know you, the person behind it, because people buy from people and they buy from those they trust and have a connection. Let them get to know you. So if I go back about the structure of the story, in the beginning, you speak about the problem. You speak about the problem, you speak about this, and you link it to the why you do what you do. You link it, you tailor it. And then at the end, you of course showing them during that time some empathy, but on the same time, You give them a sneak peek of the solution. So ask yourself really the question about what is the story behind your brand. And I would love to hear from some of you in the comments as well. What do you think that is the story behind your brand? If you listen. So I know for some of you, like Chantel, you, for example, in the beginning wrote that, right, that you want to be able to have a legacy to your daughter. Do you think that you're starting to get it more clear now to that why you want to have a legacy and why this specific legacy? You can unmute yourself if you want, or type.
Oh, there we go. Sorry, it wouldn't unmute. Yes, I do understand, and I've got to put a lot of thought into my why I'm actually building this legacy for my daughter, and to ask myself those why questions. Why do I want to offer the legacy to my daughter? So that I can leave something to her, rather than my mom was a very hard worker. She literally worked herself to the bone, and I don't want that for my daughter. So that's why one of my whys as to me doing what I'm doing is so that she doesn't have to work herself to the bone. To be able to have that. I worked myself to the bone. I was taught that by my mom. I now am ill because of that, but I don't let that get the better of me. I want to be able to provide more for my family and have more of that family time. So I think in those sentences, I've given a lot more whys than I realized I had inside me.
And I think that the beauty of it is that what you can understand now is that there's more to the story. And my question will be, and again, it's for all of you ladies, are you actually sharing that why? Are you actually telling your clients and like how it impacts you? Do you help them understand this? Okay, so it is something that I want you guys to think about, okay? If you're sharing this, so it's the one thing to know why you do what you do, and it's always good to get deep, but are you actually sharing it? And you decide how much you want to share. And by the way, I found the missing slide, so I just want to share it quickly. It was moved. So if I'll go back again, because I just want to share with you this before we almost done. It's really important to have a clear structure. So at the beginning, you want to focus on the problem. You want to have in the middle that emotional connection, show some empathy and everything. But you also want to make sure in the end that they believe that they can do it. Okay, you want to make them believe that they can actually succeed in this. If you remember, for example, Martin Luther King, in his speech, he kept on saying like, I've got a dream, I've got a dream, I've got a dream. He made it so believable that everyone thought that they can do it. If he's got a dream, I can also have a dream. Why not? Why can I not have a dream, right? And that's the thing. It's like with Obama, they were saying, yes, we can. He made you believe that if he can, I can. Yes, I can. Why not? So think about when you tell your story, and it's the same that I've done. And see, Notando, you wrote, I've never shared my why and how it impacts you. And I think that that's the beauty. Share it and ask yourself again, the why and the why. Always think about this little kid. Even if you have a kid around you, do it with a kid. Ask him to ask you the question, because they're gonna keep on asking you why. But why is the skies are blue? But why blue? Why it's moved to dark? They can ask you so many questions that you really don't even know the answer. But if you connect to yourself and you know that, start sharing it. I'm sharing my story because yes, it wasn't an easy journey. And I want you to know the fact that I do marketing for more than like 14 years. So what? It was easy to do for me to build brands like clinics and other things like that. That's easy to build myself. I even went once to a therapy once, and the psychologist said, like, you know, it's funny, you need to move from one side of the planet to the other side to learn to market yourself and to love yourself. I was like, you know what? I never thought about it like this. But yes, I learned a lot about appreciating myself and loving myself and accepting myself. So yes, I'm going to share it with my audience, because if I was able to push myself, and when people look at me and say, oh, for you, it's easy to go live. It wasn't easy in the beginning. You can watch, I think the first live I've done by myself, if I talk now fast, because I warned you guys in the beginning, for those of you who were with me, but I was speaking way faster. I was like on steroids, I think. I was like, because I was so embarrassed, I was speaking so fast that, okay, I'm done, bye. That was like this. So if you feel the same, that's the part of it. You want to share it. Tell your audience that it's not easy, that you've done this, but look how you overcome it. So look how you overcome that. Now you realize that because you're a mom, you don't want for your daughter. So how you overcoming this problem and how it links to your business, and share it. So have that structures, but don't create frustration. That's why it's important to work with the right audience. Okay. You want to make sure that at the end, they know that they can do it. That's why you want to motivate them and inspire them. That's why you want to show them the professional side of you, but the personal side of you. You want to make sure they understand that it's doable. And that's the thing behind it. So I hope you have some takeaways from this, and I would leave it now in a second open. I just want to remind, for those of you who join along the way, I am going to quickly take a screenshot because I want to remember the names, because at the last day of the summit, there's going to be a raffle of 3 prizes. There's going to be like a mini course from Alison, 4 days on Telegram, meet Diane, and one-on-one with me on brand building. So I would recommend for you to join more and more sessions. If you join 3 and more, you're going to be part of the raffle. I'm going to be amazing ladies after me now at 12:30. So like there's still more time. Whew, I was stressing because I forgot that I logged in before. You can see the time. So in like a 45 minutes, there's going to be a session with Paula, also South African, at 8 o'clock in the evening. There's also going to be a session with Rachel from Canada tomorrow in the 9 in the morning, South Africa time. There's going to be a lady from Bali, and it's going to be amazing and inspiring. And I'm going to open this quickly now. So I just want to do a quick rewind for those who joined late, and then I'm going to keep it open for questions, or if you want to share your why. And as I said in the beginning, if you're not sure about your why, or you think that this is your why, you want a feedback, please feel free to message me. Either some of you maybe have my WhatsApp, or on the different social media platforms, or in the email. I would love to help you to make sure. So just remember that a brand is a story, and you are the brand. So make sure you know which story you want to tell. Okay. And that's why you want your why you do what you do, and really get deep down as much as you can. Because once you know your why, you've unlocked your story, because it's going to help you to connect to yourself, connect to your audience, to create an emotional connection with your audience, and through that to build a relationship with them. And by building a relationship with them, you're going to gain their trust. They're going to be loyal to you, and you're going to be your best friend ambassadors. And through that, you're going to build a strong online brand that's going to be here for the long run. That's why it's hard. That's why people like communities. Okay. It's something that you work and you're nursing, and like it's growing and it's growing and it's growing. But the moment you stop, it's going to all fall down. So you want to keep on focusing. It doesn't matter how many views you get. Trust me. It doesn't matter how many views or likes. It's a matter of how you're building connection with your audience, yes or not. Because some of them will come to you when they're ready. There's certain people that I've never seen commenting on my videos or anything, and out of nowhere they become a client. So think about it like this. Ask yourself, who's the people you want to share it with? Who are going to listen to this? In everything you do, who's going to be your audience? And make sure you choose an audience that you also resonate with. Not only them with you, but also you with them. Because you don't want to have people that there is a gap between what they expect to what you're going to deliver. What you're telling, you're promising, and they're expecting to receive. Because again, it's all about, as I said, like even when you have a fight, it's not a matter of like what you're fighting about, it's how you're fighting. It's the same as like how you share your story. You can change it from one person to another. And that's why important, if you know yourself, you know your audience, you know what is the core message. because you know on which problems, challenge, struggle, pain point you want to focus on. What is the change you're trying to make? Okay, so as I said, like in my business, the change I want to make is I want to get more females that got their own business to be able to build their own brand from scratch and to succeed with us and to grow from it. And that's the part of it. So ask yourself this and always have a purpose. What's the outcome? What are you trying to achieve by telling your story, by connecting with this audience, with everything you do on social media, on your newsletter, on collaborations? Always ask, what am I trying to gain out of it? Always. And then sharing your story, make sure you have something personal, something inspiring. Also, like the professional side of things, your core values, your beliefs, because you want to attract people that believe in the same thing as you. So for example, I do yoga, so I'm very spiritual. And one of the things that I've done is that every Thursday, recently I've discovered like the message cards and stuff like this. So once a week, I put a message card. Some can say it's not related to marketing. I actually don't care. I'm the brand. This is me. This is part of my belief. This is part of how I do. It's part of my personality, part of my belief system. And I'm sharing it. If people want, they can connect. If not, all good. I cannot be everything to everyone, and so do you. So make sure you're sharing the things that are relevant to you, that are part of your story. And that's why, for example, if I look at myself, it's easier to connect with people that have a spiritual journey that they go through. Okay, so you want to look at things like that. So make sure that you're also sharing with them things that they not necessarily know about you. Okay, let them get to know the person behind. There's so many people out there sharing content. And I don't believe in the word competition. I do competition like this because there's no such thing as a competition for a small business. Because you are the brand, you have your own story, you have your own point of view, you look at things different, you have a different vibe, a different energy. Some can listen to me and say like, oh my God, she speaks fast, she speaks too much. Oh, her energy, oh. And some can say, oh, I like it. It's like just for me. And that's the beauty of it. So make sure you let them get to know you. That's how you're going to stand out, by just being you. And remember, when you tell a story, and in everything, in the way you write your content, in the way you do your, even if you do a reel and you use a trend, you always want to guide them. You want to take them hand by hand when you create even a presentation. So make sure the beginning is to focus about the problem. You never speak about the solution. Okay, it's just a bit of a tiny taste, but you never really touch the solution. That's the bread basket. Okay, you don't want to give them the bread basket, the salads, the main, and the desserts together, because they're not going to come to you after. And have a middle, create an emotional connection. As I said, people first like feel something, then they act, and then they think. Okay, not like in the past, and you always see it from commercials for mom. They always make her feel guilty. Are you a good mom? Are you doing the best as you can for your kid, right? She feels so much guilt and she wants to be the best mom. So she go buy the product. And then after it's like, oh, was the right size? Was the right product? How my baby reacting? What's happening? It's the same. So think about how you create that emotional connection. Don't be afraid to share and show some vulnerability. And I think that's the one that's going to be in the evening at 8 o'clock South Africa time from the lady from Canada, Rachel. She's going to speak about vulnerability when building a brand. You want to have this, but make sure that you don't create frustration, that you help them understand that they can do it. You've done it, and so can they. And if they're afraid or not sure, they can come and join you. The same, and I'll say, okay, you want to build your brand, you're not sure how? I've done it, but I can help you. You just need to decide you want my help. And that's the thing that you're trying to work through. So this was a quick rough. So